Welcome to Rick's Corner. I have a very special guest today, a friend of mine from the gym who I've known for some time. She's been involved in bodybuilding for years. She's very, very knowledgeable. I have a lot of respect for her. She's extremely bright. She knows how to train. She keeps her body in rock hard shape. And it's my pleasure to have here with me Denise Masino.
Hi, it's great to be here.
I'm so happy because I had thought about getting you on here for many, many times, and I'd just been overwhelmed with people coming and going, and then we finally got the chance to sit and sit down and talk.
I'm really, really happy to be here too. And I know how busy you are.
I'm a busy man. It takes me just an hour to get out of the house and when I do my hair. So, you know, my hair and my nails, all 9 of them. I wanted to talk to you about some things because I have a lot of guys on here. And I have big guys and I have guys that just train for health. I have had a few women bodybuilders, some fitness models, some people who just train to stay in shape or lose weight. And you've kind of done it all. I mean, you've gone from point A to point B and all down the road, and you've had your body go through changes. Okay, so when you started training, what age were you?
I started bodybuilding when I was somewhere between 13 and 14 years old.
Oh, last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got 30 years in the gym.
Wow. Well, it goes quick.
It's really hard to believe. Just last year, I was doing the math when somebody asked me, and I thought, oh, wait a minute. Can it really be 30 years? But 30 years.
You know, I had said this once before. I was a very big fan of Larry Scott, who passed away a couple of weeks ago. And Larry Scott trained at Vince's gym in the Valley. And I remember living in Bakersfield and coming down to Santa Monica one day, and I see him on the beach. The guy was awesome. He had every body part imaginable. He'd been training 10 years. I've been training like a year. And I thought, can't wait till I get my 10 years in. Now looking back, it's been 50.
Wow.
You know, I mean, that's a long time to go.
It is. And the thing is that it's been 50 years and you're still at it.
That's another thing I want to bring up. You and I both have friends who start and stop, and we've had people that are champions that stop and start. And I think once you get into the routine of training, I mean, you're there every day like I am.
I am.
What's the reason to stop? There's no reason to stop.
No, I honestly, I can't imagine stopping. And I haven't competed in about 7 years.
Right, I remember you telling me.
People ask me, well, why are you still training the way you do, and what motivates you?
Right.
And, I thought about that because I thought it was a really good question. And number one, it's part of my lifestyle, and
right.
It has been for a really long time.
Right.
I can't imagine not having, that outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Because life can be tricky and challenging at times, and we all need something that helps us get through the tough spots, and there's a very therapeutic effect to working out. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
And then the other thing is that I in 40 years from now, I still want to be physically active.
Mm-hmm.
People are living well into their early hundreds, and so I'm thinking, well, shoot, I got like another 55, 60 years left to go, and I want my body to carry me through. I want to be independent.
You just don't want to outlive your money.
Right.
That can happen.
But here's the thing: if you're physically active, you're still able.
This is true.
To do things.
This is very true. Well, I've said this before too. I mean, I get up every day, and I've had a lot of injuries from wrestling and bodybuilding and torn quads or whatever. But I still get up and I get in that gym and I go through the workout. I mean, I go through heavy like I used to, but I'll go through it with the same intensity. And my doctor said to me, as long as you do that, you're not going to ever fail because you're working the body, you're keeping everything active. It doesn't stiffen up and go sour on you because you're in the gym doing something. And because you're doing something physically, mentally you feel better.
No question about it. I can't imagine not training.
Right.
And, some people might think, well, you're addicted to training. And,
you are.
And I guess I am. It's a good thing to be addicted to.
Yeah.
But there's something else, and it's related to this right here.
Mm-hmm.
The gym that we train at is like, there have been people going there for 35 years?
Yeah.
I don't know how long the establishment's been there, but a long time.
Long time.
And there's a sense of community and camaraderie.
Yes.
And family, and it might sound cliche, but it's not. That I can't imagine living without that.
Every once in a while you get a stray in there. There was one there today that was kind of obnoxious, but they come and go. We're going to get rid of him. We're getting rid of him soon anyway. He's too old. He's probably going to have a heart attack in there anyway. If not, one of the trainers might kill him. What? There has to be something that triggered you though that made you want to go to bodybuilding, because we're a different breed of people. Not everybody does what we do, and a lot of people look at it like, why do you want to have big muscles and that's stupid and this and that, which it really isn't. But there's something that triggers you.
Well, in my junior high school years, I majored in dance. I went to a performing arts school in Brooklyn. And so I had the dancer's quads.
Okay.
You know, and I was always that tomboy, no brothers. I was the boy my dad didn't have kind of thing. So I followed him in everything he did. And he went through phases, you know, martial arts, and I would do that, and weightlifting. And then he had these magazines, these bodybuilding magazines. And I would do that with my dad. And I saw the magazines.
I have a whole stack up there in the back, all
do you?
the way back to 1940.
Oh my God, I would love to see
I've had them
those.
since 1955.
Do you ever look at them? Do you ever share them
I
with
haven't
people?
lately, but I have looked at them, yes, several times.
Well, so, you know, I've never collected anything in my entire life. I'm not that person. As a teenager, I collected every single magazine that I could find that had, even if it was a picture of one female bodybuilder. And back then, I was looking at Gladys Portuguese, I was looking at Rachel McClish,
Sure.
And then later it was Corey Everson, and these were the women who I just thought they were amazing.
I trained with Corey.
I'm so jealous.
No, this is a funny story. She was a very good friend of mine. We trained over at Steve Davis's in Panorama City, and she would always bring me something, a T-shirt or something from my collection. And one day she made me chocolate chip cookies, and it was the middle of summer. It was 114 out. And she brought them, and we went to get them out of the car, and they had melted into a big chocolate chip loaf.
Oh my
It
God.
was still edible, but it was a loaf. It wasn't cookies anymore. Anyway,
That's really
she was
cool.
phenomenal.
Yeah. So these are the women who inspired me, you know, and that's where a lot of my aspirations came from. Looking at these women, these physically fit bodies, I wanted to look like that.
How long did it take you before you felt like you were in that type of shape?
Oh God.
I mean, did you gain easily?
Well, I trained differently when I first started working out.
We all did.
I taught myself how to
Yeah.
work out by looking at these articles in the magazines,
Yeah.
like a lot of bodybuilders
Of course.
start, you know. It's actually amazing that I was able to, you know, get these exercises and these workout routines together. I don't think that I really started to look like a competitive bodybuilder until I met my ex-husband, Robert Masino. And he was a competitive bodybuilder in New York,
Okay.
and a successful amateur competitor. And when I met him, and I had already been working out for about 11 years, and I told him that I always had this dream of being on the Olympia stage. I mean, I wanted to be
Sure.
where Corey Everson was.
Sure, you have to have a goal.
Yes, and I saw that in my head. I could see it happening. And so he said, well, I'll help you get ready for your first competition. And it wasn't until I started competing that I started to feel like, okay, now I know what I'm doing, and I really am sort of putting it all together.
You zeroed in the diet and all that.
Absolutely. Diet, cardio.
Was that difficult for you?
It was, because, you know, the dieting is the hardest part.
Sure it is.
And in fact, for my very first competition, and I was only about 21 years old at that time, I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. There's no way I'm going to do this. There's no way I'm going to be able to avoid the foods that I love, the sweets. I really didn't think I had it in me.
Yeah.
And then after I was able to do that for a contest prep, which at the time was about 16 weeks for me, of really strict dieting, I was so proud of myself, because I thought, if I could do that, there's nothing I can't do.
This is very true, but but a lot of you don't realize out there, the training is a very small part of what you want to do. I mean, you have to do it, but the diet's the huge part, because nothing dials in until you start watching what you're eating, and that's what makes the body shape and look really good.
No
it actually
question.
makes you look bigger than smaller. When you diet down and lose weight, you actually look bigger.
Exactly. And you know, when every time when I was getting ready to be on stage, no matter what competition it was, the people who hadn't seen me for a while would see me and say, "Oh my God, you're bigger." And the truth is that I was, you know,
Exactly.
15 pounds lighter, but I looked bigger.
They
So
see
you're
a
right.
change. They see a change. They don't know what. Did you lose weight or gain weight? They see a change. They don't know what they see. I mean, I was at 213 pounds. I look bigger than I do now at 223.
Yeah.
Because I was leaner and everything stood out more, and it was just more apparent that you had more definition and veins and all that stuff hanging out. And the diet was tight. And of course, as you get older, I like desserts. You know, once in a while. I don't go crazy with them, but you know, a little rice or a little pasta, which I never did back then, because we just didn't do it.
Yeah. You know, those are life's simple pleasures.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, you can't take that away. That's what I think if anything, you have to respect bodybuilders for, because I mean, I think our sport is one of the only sports that you go through this deprivation,
Yes.
you know, where other athletes, they eat really well and all that stuff.
They don't care about the cuts.
Right, but with bodybuilding, I mean, you really, really have to be tight. You really have to be so focused and so dedicated and so committed.
Yeah.
Big respect for those athletes.
Where do you think that women's bodybuilding has gone to today? Do you like the change it's done? I mean, it's gotten pretty extreme.
With respect to what?
Size and shape.
Well, you know, the sport is still changing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's changing a lot now. You know, when I was competing, there were 3 categories, I think. Now, I think we have 5 categories in the sport. You have the bikini, you have the figure, you have the fitness, you have the physique, which is the newest category, and then you have bodybuilding.
Right.
So for women bodybuilders, because they're all bodybuilders
Right.
on some level, there's 5 categories, and there's a lot of debate about whether or not it's fair or appropriate, or that, you know, what are they doing with the sport. And if you look at an athletic body and its development, and athletes and what they tend to do, you start to recognize that a girl who wants to be in good shape and live a physically active lifestyle,
Right.
And enjoys everything that comes with that, including the therapy, starts off as a bikini athlete. And if she continues to train over years, the body matures, the muscles mature. And so inevitably that bikini athlete will get pushed up into a figure athlete.
I see how it goes. Yeah.
Who's a little bit fuller.
It just evolves.
And that's the evolutionary process
Right.
of at the body and athleticism and your physique. Muscle maturity is really what makes the difference between an amateur and a pro, and
Totally,
a good one. And so the way I see it, you know, it's kind of nice that there are so many categories where women can find a place to showcase what it is that they do, what they've accomplished, what they aspire to as athletes. You know, there was a time when women didn't sweat, they glowed, right?
Yeah, of course.
You get your glow on, and I still use that sometimes for fun. But now women are not afraid to sweat. They like the fact that they have this physical prowess. And for me, you just have to pick what's comfortable for you. There are women that love being really big and really hard, and they're bodybuilders through and through. That's who they are. That's their armor. That's what they've created.
Right.
That's their passion. And then there are women who like that look but want to make it smaller.
Tone it down just a bit.
Exactly.
Right.
And so now you have your physique category that kind of gives you a place if you're that person, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's about what feels good to you. At the end of the day, it has to be something that makes you feel empowered. You know, that's the whole point of it. Physical fitness and athleticism and all that, and how you look affects how you feel.
Totally has. It does. There's no question about it. It's the same with the guys. I have a friend of mine in my 60s who's doing the physique thing now. He won't go to full bodybuilding, but he's comfortable with that and he likes it.
Yeah.
You know, to get to the other levels, you got to do so much to get there nowadays. It's just, you got to be a chemist.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And what would you say? I want to have a tip from you for women who want to get in shape at 40, 50 years old. They never really touched the gym. And a lot of them ask me, God, I don't want to. God, do I get a trainer? Do I go to the gym? What do I do? How do I eat? They don't know where to begin. What would you suggest for someone that age to do?
And that's a great question. And, you know, I meet women who are of different ages, but a lot of women who are in their 40s and their 50s and even 60s who have an interest. And they feel, a lot of times they feel like, well, I've never done it, and so it's too late for me, you know, which is bull. It's bull.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I point out to those women is that as we get older, our muscles atrophy, right?
Sure.
That's part of the aging process.
Sure.
And so we're losing muscle. Our metabolism is dropping because of it. We're getting heavier because of it. We're getting more sedentary. And that's the worst thing that can happen when you're talking about the fact that you're still in there every day doing it, and you can. And so what I explain to women who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond is that it's never too late to start. And it's when you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s that it's more important than ever. Because with women, the loss of muscle combined with the onset of osteoporosis is a real risk. And if you're a bodybuilder, your bone density is really nice and thick and hard. And
That's
so
true.
that's the secondary benefit, or one of the secondary benefits to being a bodybuilder. And so getting into the gym, whether it's the gym or at home, resistance training is really, really important. It could be your own body.
It could be bands. It could be anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could be doing squats at home with your own body or with a broomstick, and you could be doing push-ups with your own body.
Anything.
Resistance is important because we want to maintain that lean muscle, which holds our skeleton up.
Right.
You know, and keeps our circulation going,
That's
which keeps our bodies moving. And so when I say things like that to people, you know, the lights go off. You know, and then the other thing with women is well, I don't, you know, I like the idea of working out with weights or doing the machines, but I don't want to get so big.
You always hear that. And trust me, you're not going to get big.
Right.
You got to work at getting big.
Right, and so that's when I tell them, I got 30 years in this, and that's a choice you make as you go.
Exactly.
You know, so the thing that I have to say to anybody out there who's not working out or hasn't been doing it is get up and find something that you enjoy and start moving because it's important. And if you want to stay independent, and we all do,
sure.
You gotta keep moving.
Keep moving all the time.
Yeah.
What are your plans for the future? You have something coming up you wanted to tell me about?
Well, you're talking about the St. Jude Warrior Dash.
Yeah.
What I started doing 2 years ago, and we do this annually, is I put a team of St. Jude Warriors together, and we do the Warrior Dash mud run. And the idea behind that was for me to encourage people maybe who are not working out to get off the couch, challenge themselves to this. It's a 5K, which is about 3 miles.
Sure.
And it's an obstacle course that includes cargo nets and barbed wire and walls and mud. So it's fun.
Yeah,
it's challenging. It's a little scary for people who haven't done it.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And so what we do is we put this team together and encourage people to get physically fit and more active. And in the process, they get sponsors and they raise money for St. Jude Children's Hospital.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
When's this coming up?
And so we're 6 months out now.
Okay.
It's October 18th in Northern California is the next one. And so...
Oh, that'll be here before you know it.
Yes, it will.
It goes quick.
Yeah. And so I'm, I'm recruiting anybody who wants to do it with us can join our team. We're the Misfits for Life. And we have a ball.
Where can they reach you if they want to contact you regarding this?
They can go to our website.
Okay.
It's activism.com.
Okay.
And that's ACTIVE-ISM.com.
I'll put that up so they can
Yeah,
click
I
on it.
appreciate that. So anybody who wants to run with us, get in shape, have fun, and help sick kids get, healthy,
Great idea.
good stuff.
Well, I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you for having
And
me.
at some point down the road, we'll do a part 2
Yeah.
and get into other topics.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good to me.
I'm honored. Thank you so much, Rick.
Thank you, people, for watching Rick's Corner. Stay tuned for more. I'll have Denise back in the future. We'll talk about more stuff. If there's things you'd like to hear from her, write to me, let me know, and we'll fire the questions away. And thanks again. See you next time. Stay tuned for news and weather.